South Dakota has a lot to offer for whitetails.
And native son Mark Kayser ought to know as he returns to his home state.
There he is, right there. He's right below this bank. He was just rolling in like a steamroller, out of control.
Winchester's Whitetail Revolution is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend, Code Blue, perfecting the science of hunting, Winchester Repeating Arms, the guns that work, Redfield, the soul of the American hunter, and by Browning, the best there is.
It's no secret that I'm a native of South Dakota. So when it comes to deer hunting, whitetails, they're my favorite. Look at how cocky that second one is. Those two bucks come right in, right away. So it still shows they're interested in the rattling. Problem is, this time of the year, is does are coming into heat. And of course, the big bucks are gonna have a hot doe, so they may not come to the horns. Hopefully, between the two tactics, we will find a big buck. South Dakota has a lot to offer for whitetails. It's because they inhabit every bit of niche habitat found within its borders.
On this Winchester's Whitetail Revolution, we follow veteran whitetail hunter Mark Kayser back to his home state of South Dakota, where he hunts with Dakota Ranch Outfitters and owner Pat West.
Whitetail hunting in South Dakota can be as easy of a hunt or as hard of a hunt as you want to make it. It's a real visual hunt. In South Dakota, it's easy for you to see anywhere from 50 to 150 deer in a day. And a lot of times, hunting these whitetails makes it exciting due to the fact that most of our rifle hunting occurs during the rut.
As a South Dakota native, Kayser has had the opportunity to hunt with Dakota Ranch Outfitters for many years, and he's taken full advantage of that to go after both whitetail and trophy mule deer. And with Dakota Ranch Outfitters and owner Pat West, Kayser has access to 100,000 acres of prime deer habitat.
There are so many different places that you can hunt deer here. Cornfields, soybean fields, sloughs, mountains, and even the rolling prairies that you can use a variety of techniques and tactics. Our first day of hunting couldn't have started out any better. When the sun came up, I looked down below me and right away we saw a shooter buck. Well, a questionable buck, because it's the first day. Do you shoot a nice 5x5 whitetail right out of the box? I looked over and here across the field comes a big 5x4. Another buck that's just beautiful, But do I shoot him on the first day? Luckily, I didn't have a chance. I decided, opening day, I've got to keep looking. You just never know if there's a bigger buck around the bend. When I looked in, you know the old song, "The hills are alive with music"? Well, the woods were alive with whitetails. Things are happening fast. It's almost noon, and we're trying to work back to the truck, and bam, right into smack dab another buck. This has been one exciting day. I think right now we're at over 20 different bucks we've seen in less than a mile stretch of this river. Well, we're going back into their haunt this afternoon, see if we can't even find a bigger buck. By the time I set up, I knew I was right in their face. He's swinging around, he's coming through the brush.
South Dakota native Mark Kayser has had bucks materialize everywhere, but Mike Hanbeck has a tale of a true haunting on this buck of a lifetime.
In 2005, B.J. Clement got a cam photo of a young but impressive 10-pointer in his Kansas hunting area, and that would be it for the next 4 years. No more cam pictures, and B.J. never once laid eyes on the buck. B.J. and his son Todd loved to bow hunt the second rut early December. One day last fall, B.J. set a ground blind in an old barnyard. Todd loves to stink it up in the late rut, just like I do. To help Dad out, he littered the snowy area with mock scrapes and scent trails. He used estrus and dominant buck lure. Well, guys, it paid off. One evening, a giant worked towards the barnyard where B.J. was waiting. The buck stepped behind an old building. B.J. was smart. He used that and he drew his bow. When the buck reappeared, he fired a perfect 30-yard shot. B.J. and Todd found the buck 120 yards away. And believe it or not, it was the ghost from the cam picture way back in 2005. That's how it works sometimes with those old elusive bucks. A 6x6 typical net scored 181 7/8. Great job, guys. That's how you do it when you're hunting for your buck of a lifetime.
Learn more about Mike Hanbeck's Bucks of a Lifetime at versus.com.
I'm just about like Dr. Doolittle. I can actually talk to the animals and calm their nerves. I don't like hamburgers. I'm a vegetarian. On this hunt, I was hooking up with my good friend Pat West. Now Pat, along with his partner Fred, they run Dakota Ranch Outfitters, a great family-style business.
Having Mark out the last couple years hunting with us, I realized Mark's very knowledgeable about whitetails and the tactics of whitetails. He's very familiar with whitetail calls as well as rattling whitetails, and definitely knows his stuff when it comes to hunting these whitetails along the Bad River and White River.
South Dakota's rifle season falls right smack dab in the middle of the rut. Now that's great news because there's all kinds of buck activity. If you're in a good spot, a good funnel, a good feeding area, you're going to see deer all day long if the temperatures will allow. Now when the temperature's between 20 and 40, it's perfect, and that was the forecast for our hunt. So I was expecting all-day deer movement. The next morning, I couldn't pass up another look at that feeding field. There was just too much activity around it the day before. Plus, I had a hot tip from Pat that there was a really big buck using the area. rut action is really good right now again this morning. 150 yards away, we got a real nice 5-point. He's been scraping a lot, tons of scraping. He's just not quite a shooter. So we're still looking, but there's bucks everywhere again. We're gonna watch this little bottom for a little bit, then we're gonna start roaming.
Now to find one of those big bucks, I figured the first place to look was the obvious place, down into thick cover.
You know, one of the toughest things to do is to sneak into a buck's bedroom. Now my goal here is to get in there about another 50 yards. I'm sure they're gonna hear me here pretty quick. So to cover that, I use a grunt.
By the time I set up, I knew I was right in their face.
There's 2 bucks. There's three coming in. There's a big one right here. He's swinging around. He's coming through the brush. He's not quite a shooter. He's a 5-point we were looking at this morning, I think, real similar to that one.
Had another great encounter, great midday action at high noon, and we pushed on looking for that big buck. Now we've been specifically hunting one end of the ranch. To give that area a rest, we moved to the opposite side of the ranch and some new country. A lot of young bucks and a lot of chasing going on. When the sun set, I knew we might want to go back to our hot spot on the opposite end of the ranch because the hunt was beginning to wind down.
It's right there. It's right below this bank.
Winchester's Whitetail Revolution is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend, Code Blue, perfecting the science of hunting, Winchester Repeating Arms, the guns that work, Redfield, the soul of the American hunter, and by Browning, the best there is.
It's hard to pick a favorite big game animal. A whitetail, that's what I cut my teeth on. And that's kind of what I always go back to when I got free time, especially from mid-October to the end of November. That's when I'm in the whitetail woods.
The best time to hunt here in South Dakota, obviously during the rut. The season for rifle starts normally the second Saturday in November and runs 16 days. And for the last several years, this has definitely been the prime time for rutting activity for both mule deer and whitetail. So those 2 weeks during November is definitely a good time to hunt.
With the closing hours of the hunt coming on, I decided to go back to our original starting spot.
Just a young buck. He's coming right here. He's coming right to the grounds. out. There he is, there's his tines. Oh wow, that's pretty. Look at the breath coming out of him. That dude's wound up, he's wanting some action. He doesn't know who we are yet.
It was a beautiful scene. The only thing that would have made it better is if he had been a big, brawny 5x5. Now, on a hunch, I just thought I need to go back to that morning spot. I edged up to a lip, sat down, looked back down into that bowl, bingo. I got a good enough look at him. I knew a mature buck was at home and the game was back in play. Now the problem was, I'm sitting up in an area with the wind blowing kind of wrong for him and that buck's moving away. I backed out of there, made a big wide loop around him to get everything to my advantage. I looked up at the sky, the sun was beginning to set. I knew that my time was limited. Finally, I got up to the very corner. The buck had moved back into some thick, heavy cover.
There he is, right there. He's right below this bank. Starting to lose shooting light, so I have to try and rattle at him, see if we can't get him to come out. Right down, man. That dude charged him. He came in hard. He's a big old buck. You know, he's not a monster for scoring, but he's a monster just because he's brawny. Let's go see what he is, because he is a heavy-duty dude.
I can't imagine a better ending to any hunt. In fact, it's gotta be one of my all-time favorite endings for rattling in a big buck. There he is, he's right here. Oh, what a dude. That is a big, mature South Dakota whitetail. He's gotta be at least a 5'6" or even older buck to have a body like this. And look at the mass on his antlers. What a great way to end a hunt in my state of South Dakota, where I was born and raised. Everyone looks for something different in a hunt. Me, I like the challenge of pitting myself up against a big buck. This hunt, it had it all. South Dakota, it always treats me right, and that's why I come back year after year after year.
All whitetail, all the time.
Take him out. Take him.
On Versus.com and Versus On Demand.